Collectively, the members of the G20 represent 85% of global GDP, 75% of global trade, and 2/3 of the global population. For the G20 to fully live up to its mission of promoting international financial stability and deepening economic cooperation, there should be no unwritten rules about those who feast and those who must be settled for scraps. It cannot be that a country's geographical location or income level or army determines who has a voice and who is spoken down to. And it basically means that there should be no bullying of one nation by another nation. We are all equal. In choosing the theme, when we chose the theme that we must advance a vision of meaningful, credible global cooperation, we did not only mean a small club of leaders. We meant the people of the world must be able to be part of that vision. It is our expectation that this social summit will be remembered for being far more than a marketplace of ideas. Just as the Bandung Conference in Indonesia in 1955 elevated the voice of the Global South, and just as the Conference of the People in 1955 here in South Africa harnessed global solidarity against apartheid, one previous speaker from, Oxfam, said that this struggle against apartheid was the biggest struggle that he had ever seen. Now, this summit must be remembered for having given practical meaning to what global solidarity is all about. And thank you to you all who have been part of making this summit a success. For the last 2 centuries, the extraordinary growth of global economy has been achieved at the expense of the very resources on which our species relies for survival. We now know that unless we change course, urgently for that matter, as well as resolutely, the conditions of life on this planet will become intolerable. The move to a low-carbon economy cannot be delayed. Indeed, it must be accelerated. As we undertake this transition, we must be sure not to further deepen inequality between and within countries. We cannot disadvantage those countries that bear the least responsibility for climate change, yet are today most vulnerable to its effects. We therefore need a massive increase in financial support for just and inclusive transitions in developing economies. We must share knowledge and expertise as well as technology to address the challenges that those countries will face. At the same time, we must be wary of unilateral trade measures that seek to promote cleaner energy, but that further restrict fair market access for economies that are still developing and growing. We need to pursue fair, transparent, multilateral trade agreements that do not punish countries for a climate crisis that they did not create. We have seen the huge disruptions to productions and trade that can be caused by global pandemics, by wars, by conflicts, by geopolitical turbulence, and also by unilateral decisions that are taken that impact on trade. At such times, we appreciate the value of multilateral institutions and a rules-based world order. We were fed the message that you need to have rule of law. You need to embrace values. You need to have good governance. But in recent times, we've seen how those who were trying to teach us those laws and those values are the very ones who are violating all those values, who are destroying those very values. And we ask ourselves, what are we expected to do now? Because, yes, we are developing our economies. We are sovereign countries, and we need to be treated as equals. Our sovereignty needs to be respected. We need to sit around the table as equals and having the same share of knowledge, the same share of capability, without any bullying the other, without any. For in the past, for most of us in the global south, we were colonized. We were not even allowed a moment around at the table. We were not even allowed to be in the room. And we've now been arguing that we would like to be in the room. We must direct greater effort towards multilateralism and strengthen the multilateral system, but also in doing so to reduce the inequality that manifests itself in many ways. A more equal world in which political and economic power is more fairly distributed, in which all people have an equal voice and an equal stake. Such a world is more stable and more resilient. And that is the world that many of us want to live in. We are very pleased with the participation that we have seen. It's been rich, it's been deep, it's been meaningful, and I'd like to thank you all as the B20 for having honored South Africa. Your participation, I believe 45% of the people participating here are from other lands or other countries. With the Social Summit, there were 20% participants from other countries. So you are much better than what the Social Summit produced. But thank you so much. For me, this is a real honor. And I will not talk about what smell I am now sensing here, because I smell consensus. I smell real agreement on the issues that you set out to do.